what are some really good basic techniques that everyone should be doing to take care of their skin now? And what are the ramifications if they don't?
So our skin is really our largest organ, right? Its job is to protect us, to regulate our temperature, and it really kind of reflects what's happening on the inside of our bodies. There's really three main things to keep your skin healthy. It's that barrier function. Is it protecting like it's supposed to? Is it hydrated? And then also, are we protecting it from the sun? Because the sun is it's crazy what it does to our skin. People in Arizona, we look like we age faster because of all of the sun that we get, versus someone who, is back east and it's more rainy there. So It's very different. So I would say the biggest thing is like a sun or an SPF is non-negotiable to all of my clients who come in. That is my top thing. You really have to reapply. That's kind of where we forget. We put the sunscreen on in the morning and then we're out in the sun all day and it's lost its effectiveness. And so really reapplying that sun protection is really important too. And then antioxidant. So it's going to help protect your skin from the inside too, help with all the free radicals, things like that. And it's amazing just what a good antioxidant and a good SPF will do to your skin. You'll see the results quickly.
Today on the Generational Health podcast, I had the opportunity to sit down with Michelle McAuley, the owner of McAuley Co. Had a really great conversation about skincare, primarily face and skin routines. So if you're interested in how to boost collagen production in your face or all the many different treatment options out there for you, I think you'll really enjoy this episode. As always, I want to thank our lead sponsor, Hiva Health, www.hivahealth.com. You can check out any of the different treatments that they have available, from dermatology to hormone replacement, even just checking your labs and getting routine checkups to go over just your general metabolic health. They're there for you 24/7 all across the country. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's so good to have you in here. Thanks for coming in on the podcast today and spend a little bit of time with me. You are the owner of McAuley Co, skincare professional and know-it-all. So I thought it'd be fun to have you come in here and teach us a little bit about what you do and a lot of the questions that you get. We tend to work with a lot of people that are trying to look for ways to, reverse some of the damage they've done to their skin over the years with, sun damage, and all of us that back the 80s babies that used to get in sun tanning beds way too much. So anyway, welcome to the podcast. It's awesome to have you here. I'd love to just turn the time over to you and maybe introduce yourself to us a little bit. Tell us about who you are. And I'd love to know what inspired you to start McAuley Co.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really have always had a passion for skin and skin health, things like that. I struggled with acne as a teenager. And then when I was pregnant, I did not get the pretty healthy glow. I was cystic acne, all over, back acne. And it was a really painful experience. And so I am kind of the person where if something's broke, I'm going to figure out how to fix it. So it really was where I started to really wanted to learn about skin and figure out what was going on. But when I was at a point in my life, I've got 4 kids. They're 24 to 16. So they're a little bit older now. And when, they got to that place that I felt like I could do something for myself and kind of go out into the career world again, it felt like skin was the perfect place for me to be. So I started out as like a solo esthetician, but I kind of found in the industry there was something missing, because I would go to places and I would get some corrective treatments, but it felt very cold. It felt very like a doctor's office kind of, and so I wanted to create something that I could be results driven and really focus on corrective treatments, but also give clients that kind of like that wellness retreat type feel too. So kind of combine the two. And it sounds silly, but in our mission statement, it says, every client we want them to feel seen, cared for, and loved so that, they can leave feeling just a little bit better than they came in and not lost, not confused, and really have a roadmap of where to go to be able to get to the goals that they're looking for.
Yeah, no, that's great. Skincare is kind of, it's kind of interesting. You brought up, acne, and it's like, there's a lot of people in this space. You've got like when you talk about cosmetology, it covers like so much, right? Go from eyelash extensions to, brows to skincare to, all the laser treatments and everything else in between. But skin's kind of interesting because it's one of those things that, is very visible. You see kids that are going through puberty and they have hormonal acne, and how like the emotional and mental toll it can take on people that are dealing with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of us that, like I said earlier, that maybe spent too much time in the sun and didn't really, have the greatest practices as far as taking care of our skin. And so now we're sitting here in our 40s or 50s or whatever, and you're like, why am I looking so much older so fast?
Yeah.
So I'd love to learn a little bit more about that and kind of, what are some of I want to get into what you do in your practice, specifically like the treatments that you all offer and why and how to go through and choose those. But maybe before we get there, I would love to know just like, what are some really good basic techniques that everyone should be doing to take care of their skin now? And what are the ramifications if they don't, just from what you've seen? Because I'm sure you've seen lots of different cases of people that come in, their skin probably already looks great and they're just trying to maintain it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to keep it looking nice longer. And you have others that are probably trying to come in and repair a lot of damage that's been done. So would love to know, like, based on all your experience, what are some of those things that everybody should be doing to take care of their skin every day?
Yeah. So our skin is really our largest organ, right? So its job is to protect us, to regulate our temperature, and it really kind of reflects what's happening on the inside of our bodies. So there's really three main things to keep your skin healthy. It's that barrier function. Is it protecting like it's supposed to? Is it hydrated? And then also, are we protecting it from the sun? Because the sun is it's crazy what it does to our skin. Actually, people in Arizona, we look like we age faster because of all of the sun that we get versus someone who, is back east and it's more rainy there. So it's very different. So I would say the biggest thing is to protect like a sun or an SPF is non-negotiable to all of my clients who come in. Like that is my top thing. And not only sun protection, but also teaching our clients that you really have to reapply. That's kind of where we forget. We put the sunscreen on in the morning and then we're out in the sun all day and it's lost its effectiveness. And so really reapplying that sun protection is really important too. And then the other one that I get all of my clients on is really an antioxidant. So it's going to help protect your skin from the inside too, help with all the free radicals, things like that. And it's amazing just what a good antioxidant and a good SPF will do to your skin. You'll see the results quickly.
Yeah, I had a naturopathic pediatrician in here on the last podcast. And we talked about acne specifically in youth, and 100%, she's just like, it starts in the gut. And, you've got hormonal changes, obviously, but on top of that, feeding kids, these high inflammatory foods, they come in, they're pounding cereal and all these other things that are super convenient and delicious, and they love it. And, you've got kids that have gone through it. Right. And so, they come through and they empty your cupboards pretty fast, but what they eat really has an inflammatory effect on their bodies. It's not different for them than it is for us too. And we talk about hormonal changes, and all of us experience that through our whole life. Kids go through puberty and they start to be introduced to the hormonal jumps. And then over the rest of your life, it goes back down. It's changing all the time. So I think that's cool that you take kind of that 3-step approach with skincare, looking at it from, protecting that layer on the outside and then also feeding it the right stuff from the inside. That's really cool. Yeah. So like with your kids, what types of things do you teach them as far as like their skincare? Like you've got great skin. You said you have a 24-year-old.
24-year-old.
So you have a 24-year-old, which doesn't look like you should have a 24-year-old. So you've obviously done a great job taking care of your skin. So what are some things that you're teaching them that you hope that they'll take with them as they kind of go into adulthood and, to help protect their skin as they get older?
Yeah. So first thing, and really with all teenagers, is teaching them the double cleanse. So I say it's kind of like that first cleanse is like sweeping and the second cleanse is like mopping. And that is really so important. It's if you don't get a good cleanse on your skin, you're not going to be able to get the rest of your products into where you want it to go. It's just blocking it. Mm-hmm. So it's really kind of a waste. It sounds simple, but that double cleanse is super, super important. And especially with like teenagers and stuff, they kind of, they're the hardest ones to kind of get them to, even in my own kids, to, what's the word? Kind of comply or kind of buy into, like agree and say, okay, yes, I'm going to do this. And so I'll usually, I'll challenge them, just give me 1 week, do the double cleanse, and let's see how your skin looks after that. And 10 times out of 10, they're like, oh my gosh, Mom, you're right. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, say that again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And you brought up like the non-negotiable of UV protection.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up some just random stuff before this, just in case things came up. And I thought this was pretty interesting, but it says that UV exposure causes up to 90% of our visible skin aging. And I always knew that like getting sunburned aged your skin, but I didn't really understand why. But in here, it kind of details that sun damage doesn't just cause the sunburn. It actually breaks down your collagen. It creates pigmentation, and then it accelerates the fine lines that we have. This was the crazy part. Most of the visible signs of aging, from crow's feet to aging spots, are actually preventable with just daily SPF use. So it's very easy to do, right?
Very easy.
I don't know. Most face creams should probably have some of it in there, but it seems like a pretty simple thing that everyone can do is just to make sure they protect themselves from getting burned by the sun. So
absolutely.
Anyway, I thought I'd bring that up just because I found that statistic pretty interesting.
I love that. There's I'm sure you could Google it, but there's a picture that goes around of a trucker, and the left side of his face is so aged and the right side of his face is not, because most of his life he was, in that driver's seat, and the left side with all that sun exposure. And it's crazy to just see that difference of what sun can really do.
So you've got someone like me that has spent way too much time in the sun. If you're familiar with Lake Powell, spent a lot of time in the summers growing up there, several weeks every year. We'd spend time on the lake, played a lot of outdoor sports. I'm 41. I'm just curious, like if I walked into McAuley Co. And I just said, look, I've got some sun damage, some fine lines. I'm just starting to look older. I don't want to look so old. I'd like to try to slow this. I know I'm going to get older and it's fine, and I accept that, but I'd love to like kind of age gracefully. What are some things that you'd probably, maybe some treatments or things that you'd recommend I look into?
Yeah. So when a client comes in, we talk about their goals and also their lifestyle. So all of our corrective programs are really customizable, because if you are someone that doesn't like a lot of downtime, or maybe someone that is okay with a little bit of downtime, that's going to kind of decide on what kind of treatments we do. The first treatment I usually always go to, it's like my OG. I love it. I can really treat anybody with it. It's called jet plasma. And your wife's done it before. Yep. And it really is a way to deliver this plasma energy in a non-traumatic way to the skin. So it's able to really reach down to that subcutaneous layer, which is where our skin cells are starting to form. And it creates a really healthy environment for the cells to form. And so by doing that, and then when those new cells come up to the surface, you're seeing that healthy new skin instead of that old photo damaged skin. And so,
Yeah. One thing on that too, like that's really interesting, is that I want to say like when we're in our 20s, our skin naturally turns over a lot faster, right? I
yep.
think it's something like it takes about a month for your skin to turn over, maybe 28 days when you're younger and in your 20s. And then as you get into like your 50s, I think it's double the time. It's like 60 days for your skin to turn over, which is probably a reason that, it's aging and looking the way it does. And so are you saying that like jet plasma type treatments, they kind of help the quicker turnover like you would if you were in your 20s?
Exactly. Yes. And combined with, a really good home regimen, helping all of that new cell turnover to happen quicker and in a more healthy way. And I wouldn't just do jet plasma. It's definitely something where we like to combine different treatments. Jet plasma is kind of like cardio for the skin. And then things like microneedling and laser treatments are more like strength training. And then your home care is like your healthy food that you're eating at home. So it really takes all three things to really be able to get you to the results that you're looking for.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. I got lost a little bit. So you said, so the other two, so jet plasma, and then what were the other two as well? So obviously you have the at-home, like eating the right and home care and all that. But what was the second one you just mentioned there?
The second one's microneedling. Okay. And so that one is actually something that will come with a little bit of downtime. And we're creating a little bit of trauma to the skin to kind of trick our body into flooding that area with a lot of collagen and elastin and stimulating the fibroblast by doing it from the outside in. And then the jet plasma does it from the inside out. So doing it both ways really is able to get the results quicker than if we were just to do one or the other.
I see. Okay. That makes sense. So, so that type of treatment is targeted at what kind of an outcome? So if you're doing that, are you just is it to smooth fine lines and all that and just make everything look smoother, or what is like the preferred outcome if you're doing those treatments together? Like what should I expect to see in my face? Yeah.
So the first thing you're going to start seeing is your tone and texture is going to start to improve. Fine lines will start to diminish, and it does take time because, we do have to work with that cell turnover that's happening, waiting for those new beautiful cells to come up to the surface. Any hyperpigmentation that might be, on the skin. If there's a lot happening, we'll probably turn to a laser treatment and really bust out that. It pulls all that pigmentation out, which again is a little bit more downtime. But we can also work with vascular situations like those little broken capillaries or little blood vessels around your nose. Anything that's a little bit more invasive is going to have a little bit more downtime. But so we've got hyperpigmentation, those spots. It can also work for someone who's struggling with acne. And then tightening and that tone and that texture is really the results that you're going to be able to get. Okay.
So what's the difference between all of that and like a chemical pill? I only know of these things because I know people that get them and they're just like for a week, they look like they're in so much pain.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know like what's the difference between that chemical pill and what is that chemical pill even doing, and how does that even help to like do that to yourself? It just seems really painful. And is it worth it? But I would just love to know the difference between these types of treatments.
So thankfully, technology has come really far. So we do still use chemical peels in our practice. I actually combo it with a microneedling or a combo it with a jet plasma treatment, because when you combo things, it boosts the results from both if you were to do them on its own. So a chemical peel is going to really help with that cell turnover. It just like amps it up. It's going to stimulate collagen. But they've actually come out with a lot of cool peels that are not as invasive and there's not as much downtime. We still will play with those that are, you get like the snake sheet peeling that happens. But a lot of the ones that we are able to use now is just a little bit of flaking, a little bit of dryness, because they've discovered you don't have to destroy the top layers of your skin to be able to get to what's happening underneath. And before, that's what they thought. They thought we had to just, take off layers and layers, and they've learned that that's just not the case anymore.
Is that the, what do you guys call it?
The peel?
The pill, yeah.
That is like sheet peeling?
Yeah, the non-chemical pill, the other one. Is it Repeal? Is that what you guys
the
call
Bio
it?
Repeal.
The Bio Repeal?
Yes.
I paid for that once.
You
That's
did.
why I remember. So
Yes.
Is that what that is? Is it's a less invasive
It's
kind of
less
chemical
invasive,
pill?
yeah.
Okay.
And it also has ingredients in it like my mind's blanking. My mind is completely blanking.
It's okay.
So the BioRepeal is a peel it's called the no peel peel, and it has 2 layers in it. So the first layer is something that's going to kind of protect that outer layer, and then the second layer of the peel is able to go deeper into the skin and do what we want it to do.
Okay.
Help that collagen, elastin, and then it gently exfoliates the skin instead of just destroying those first 3 layers of your skin. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that actually makes a lot of sense because I have seen people do the full chemical pill, and I know what Steph's experience was with she did the jet plasma with the Repeal.
Yes.
So she did those 2 treatments together, and she absolutely loved it, and she wants to do it again. But it sounds like you may even have additional things now with, I don't know, the new place, and
yes.
you've got a new spot here in town. So it sounds like there may be some even better treatments that you can combine with that, which kind of sounds cool. So I'm just curious, like when we talk about like the aging, like our aging skin, like what's actually happening? Like why does our skin just start to look old? Both men and women, I think it's a little different, but what's actually happening in the body to have the skin start to sag and to have the fine lines and to lose some of that, like, the plump around your eyes and everything, to where people feel like they need to get injections to look more plump. Why does that actually happen?
So the first thing that we've talked about is that cell turnover really slows down. So if those new cells are not coming up to the surface as quickly, we've got that old photo damaged cell sitting there, and it's just not a happy situation. Also, the cells kind of get lazy. And so that's why we do those fun treatments to kind of wake things back up and excite things again. And then by using products and in a way that they actually get down into those layers to help those new cells and everything that's happening that we're trying to get it to do, we kind of trick the skin in that way.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, as we age, though, we start to, I link it up with a lot of the hormonal changes that we experience. And then also you bring up collagen so much, like all of your treatments tend to boost your natural collagen production. Because what happens is once we hit, I don't know, like it's same with everything, mid-20s, we start to, like, male hormones start to drop off, female hormones actually start to drop off, progesterone and testosterone in women start to drop. Those are the first 2 to go, but collagen does as well. And you mentioned before, like, skin is the largest organ of the body, and collagen is the most abundant protein in our bodies. And so when your collagen production sinks like that, even to the tune of, like, you lose 30% of your collagen by the time you're 50, so what you're trying to do is spur all that collagen first and foremost. And then I think the other thing is hormones, and what the role that hormones plays in maybe the fat tissues and fat pockets of our face and skin. And this is something I just recently learned a bit more about, but especially in women, they see an acceleration of this as they hit menopause, because when your body stops producing estrogen, you actually lose a lot of the fat cells in your face, which then makes it sink. And so, like, people that start to see, you can start to see the eye sockets a bit more, and the skin starts to sag because of the collagen. So it's a mixture of almost like, we're losing fat in our face, and everyone wants to be skinny, but you don't realize how important those fat pockets are. Yeah. And so it's, there's some things that I don't know. I think it just goes to show also the importance of not just a healthy diet and all that, but also making sure that your hormones are fully optimized as you kind of go through the different phases of life, into perimenopause and menopause. Otherwise, if you don't keep collagen either localized on your face or in your system as you go into those phases, you'll see that dramatically faster. So hormone optimization is also pretty important with skin health.
It's huge.
Yeah. But I mean, this was another thing I looked up too, but estrogen loss during menopause leads to about a 30% reduction in skin thickness just in those first 5 years.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Again, another reason why make sure you have a really good doctor and that you get ahead of it as you enter the menopause phases, I guess.
Absolutely.
And then those facial fat pads, they shrink and they shift, leading to kind of changes in bone density, and then the cheeks and everything, you start to see it. And I'm assuming that's why people get fillers. Is that kind of is almost a proxy for that? Is that what a filler would do?
Yeah, it does. And they've actually come out with new fillers that actually have biostimulators to help build that collagen and those fat pads back up. So as the filler starts to kind of dissolve, you're left with your own natural collagen and those fat pads built back up, which is really cool. I mean, that's what I love about this industry. They just keep getting better and better and better. Being able to have something that's you can inject in your skin and then it actually helps your skin do what it's supposed to do on its own is really the coolest thing ever.
So like with injections like Botox and fillers, do you have a strong opinion on the use of those, safetiness of those?
I do them. We have a nurse that does them, but we always take the approach to really just help you look refreshed. Definitely not overdone, and it's not something that you have to get a ton of. Just a little here and there to help refreshen things. But the products that we use are really important too. So our favorite neurotoxin is called Daxxify, and it's a newer neurotoxin. So it's like Botox, but they've added peptides in it. So again, you're putting something in to kind of help in the short term, but also the long term by really helping the skin health of the skin. So clients are noticing that they're actually not needing as much tox because their skin's doing what it's supposed to do in the beginning.
So that's an alternative for Botox?
Well, it is a Botox, but it's a new Botox that has peptides with it.
Okay.
So that you're able to, they've just taken that opportunity to really inject something that's good for your skin.
It doesn't just paralyze the muscle, but then
Right.
It's repairing stuff in there.
Exactly.
Okay. Are there any, what would you say are the biggest fears that people have when getting Botox?
I think just looking fake and overdone, that's, nobody wants to look like that or look like they have like the frog lips or, or the just way too much filler. We really just are very, very natural and we do little bits at a time. We do say no to clients and they may not like it, but they like it in the end. And I feel like they feel safe in knowing that we're not going to do them wrong.
So when you say no to clients, they want more and you just say, we're going to stop here.
Yeah. Or we'll say, let's just do one syringe and let's see where that gets us. And then, because there's a process, there's that swelling time and all of that. And everybody's different. And there's a ton of different fillers out there too. So our nurse is really good at picking the right one for the right area because it does really matter.
What are some of the biggest maybe like side effects that you've seen people experience with Botox? I'm sure it's probably pretty normal most of the time, but are there the one-offs where people, first time, what to expect after they get injected with something like that?
Yeah. So a lot of times, especially if it's their first time, there might be a little bit of touch-up that needs to happen. And we always do a 2-week touch-up. Like I said, everybody's different and everybody's muscles, most people on the right side or the left side, their muscles are stronger just naturally. And so they might need a little bit of a little touch-up here and there. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty easy and pretty quick. But there are every now and again, you need those few touch-ups to kind of even things back out a little bit.
Yeah, I think some people get nervous that you're going to get an injection and like your eye's going to look droopy or are there ways to reverse that? So if like you get an injection and it makes your eye sink because the muscle or whatever is numb in that area, how do you correct for that if you come in after?
Unfortunately, with neurotoxin, it is just something that wears off. Thankfully, it's not something that's there forever. And with neurotoxin, it's not like a on and off switch. It's kind of goes up slowly and then down slowly. So there is that little bit of wearing off. But thankfully, there's so many techniques that have made that not happen. There's areas in the eyebrow that you stay away from. There's areas above the eyebrow that you stay away from to make sure that you don't get that droopiness. There's just the industry is just so amazing now. And our nurse is really great with keeping on top of those new techniques to really make sure that you don't get that. Because that is the worst of not feeling like you can't have your expressions, like I have, I think 60 units in my face and like I still have all my expressions, so it's finding that balance and being able to still look like yourself, but have that little bit of muscle frozenness.
So is there like an average, like if you had someone that came in for the first time and they were really nervous about getting Botox, never done it before, but it's expensive. It can be expensive. It adds up on a per unit basis, basically. So it's like, is there an average that generally you like to start with for somebody if they've never done it before, just to see kind of how they tolerate it? If so, what roughly should someone, like if someone came in and said, I have no idea how much I need, how much generally would you recommend?
Well, the nurse would really kind of discuss with them where the areas that they're wanting to fix. So if it's just kind of like in the forehead area, somewhere around 40 units. But if it's full face, it could, be more like, because people like to get things like in their jawline and things like that. And so then that's going to be probably around 60 to 70 units if they do full face.
Okay. Well, I have a confession to make.
Yes, please.
I got Botox once.
Hey, that's awesome. It's called Brotox for you.
Brotox. I got Brotox once, and actually a couple times. But one of the times, so my wife kind of likes the crow's feet a little bit on me. I don't know if it's
she
just
likes that smile line.
I don't know. Like it's just I don't know if it's just the little bit of aging and like she likes it. So she's like, don't do that. And then this last time, it was probably 6 months ago or I don't know, longer. I said, hey, hit the crow's feet. And, and just a little bit. Anyway, got the crow's feet and everything was done. And I don't do like hardly any. That's why I was asking about the amounts. I think maybe like 20 units or something.
Oh yeah.
Pretty subtle.
That's
I'm it's baby. I was like, I just want subtle things. I don't want to be like, I can't, I kind of have big eyebrow muscles right here and I just don't want to feel like I can't move.
Yeah.
So but it does kind of smooth things out a little bit, which I liked. And so I was like, hey, let's try the crow's feet, just do a little bit. Anyway, so everything's done and I get up and all of a sudden I'm like, I look to the side and I can see something right here bubbling up. And I'm like, oh no, what's going on? And I look over at our doctor and I was just like, hey, is there something right here? And he looks at me and goes, oh crap. and he already got me an ice pack and he nicked a little blood vessel right here.
Really?
And it kind of like just made a little hematoma, like it just kind of bubbled up right here.
Yeah.
And then it pulled down and gave me a black eye for a couple weeks.
Goodness.
Yeah. And it was funny because I was doing a video thing like this and I had a black eye and I was like, I'm just going to have to tell them the truth. I'm not going to lie about it. Yeah, I got Botox. But anyway, that's probably as bad as it might get with Botox. And I don't know anyone else that's actually happened to them.
I have never
I think it was just a freak deal.
Before, yeah.
But I think it's pretty rare. But I think it also goes to show, like, make sure that, someone like yourself, you're going to someone that knows exactly what they're doing. And there's a lot of people that avoid certain spots down here because of that.
You don't want to go down here because it will actually make your eye droop.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's just so many tiny little veins that run through there. And so, got to be really careful with that stuff. But I think generally speaking, it seems that it's safe. And it seems to be pretty effective for people. And it helps, it gives a lot of people some confidence, as we're aging. And some people, they say, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm okay aging and I'm not going to be injecting, this toxin into my face. And I get that too. But for those that maybe aren't willing to go that route and inject and do some of these other like treatments, these jet plasma treatments and the re-pills or like these softer pills that you can do seem like pretty solid alternatives to injecting yourself with stuff.
Absolutely.
So I'm just curious, like, you have people that come in and they're just, is there a basic like starter package that people, if there was one thing you're saying, look, there's all these different treatments you can do. Here's the one that's a necessity. Do this one. Yeah. What would that be?
I would say jet plasma. It really just does so much, and we can work on really any type of skin, unless you're pregnant. But there's no pain, there's no downtime. You're able to see results pretty quickly as we layer the treatments. And like I said, there's that no downtime, which is really huge for a lot of clients because they don't want to have to not go to work or stay out of the sun or things like that. And it is going to really going back to that skin health, where we're reducing that inflammation, helping those sun-damaged skin cells, and working on that skin from the inside out is really my favorite thing to do.
So how long does a treatment, jet plasma treatment, take if you come in for an appointment?
That's the other cool thing. It's really quick. It's about 30 minutes, and you're in and out. Can come on your lunch. And we have memberships so that it really helps keep the cost down. You can come in once a month if you'd like. A lot of our clients will come in and we'll put them on a corrective program first to reverse a lot of things, and then they'll move into that maintenance of like a monthly membership. But I was really making sure that I wanted a place that we could meet everybody where they're at. You know, I'm not going to turn someone away if they can't do this, big program that they might need, but we might just get there a little bit slower. And, we help manage their expectations, of course, but, you can get to Europe on a plane and get there really fast, or you can go on a boat and get a little bit slower, and it's the same thing. So we are able to kind of help our clients in lots of different ways.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. I'm curious too, are there any trends right now with men in skincare, things that you're seeing, things they're starting to do? I think this has always been a female dominated space, but I think men are starting to take note of like damaged skin and how they can maybe try to repair some of the damage that they've done, and just kind of that self-care. I'm curious if there are any trends that you're seeing that men are starting to do or jump on to take care of their skin.
Well, Botox is definitely one. We see a lot more men start off with that. But really, when our clients and they're male and they come in and they do ask that question, where do I start? We really generally start with a jet plasma treatment, or even a hydrofacial, something that's going to really help exfoliate their skin really nice and cleanse it really nice. It really sucks out all of the gunk out of their skin. So something that's still corrective, but it's not going to be really invasive where they leave bruised and bloody. And, we don't have to do that anymore. So I feel like that's been really cool to see that men are kind of excited about coming in for their treatments again. We actually do have a lot of men that come in.
Well, I think maybe I'm trying to think through like why men haven't really been good at this. First of all, I can probably say most men probably suck at just like skin routine.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like a morning and a night routine. Never have. Women are, even like these teenage girls I've seen, where they're just like, I've got nieces and they're getting ready for bed for like an hour.
Yeah.
They've got this whole thing, but they look great. Their skin looks great. It's probably going to last them a really long time. But guys have just always not been good at this. And so it is good. I think it's important. But I think there's maybe societal things, and maybe it looks like it's an effeminate thing to do, or I don't know. I don't know why guys are hesitant to take care of it, but it is interesting going into like some of these like nail spas and stuff, and you see dudes getting pedicures,
yes.
Because it's just like personal hygiene. It's like,
absolutely.
It's actually, and so it's interesting. You say they come in and, can do some things to really like get gunk out of their face. It's like, that would be good for anybody.
Yeah.
But also one thing you mentioned before we actually started, we were just talking beforehand, is the reason why most of them initially come in. And I think you said that it's because their wives or
Their
girlfriends
wives,
or whoever
yes.
are like forcing them to come in. But once they do, they're like, oh, this is actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I think that might be one of the things is that men might think, oh, women might think it's weird if I went and did something like that. But I think it might be more the opposite. And maybe you can just speak to that as a woman. Like how do you view a man that goes in and gets Botox, or goes in and gets some of these facial treatments? Do you look at that as being like, oh, I appreciate that he takes care of himself? Or is it one of those things where, that's kind of weird?
No, I think I really appreciate that they're taking the effort, when I first started in aesthetic school, my husband was my guinea pig, and he came in because you have to do a whole program on a client from start to finish. And he was like, oh, wow, this is really nice. And so I think it's really just, being open to it, trying it. And they really appreciate how it really makes them feel. And that's huge. Once you start getting that confidence, not that they didn't have confidence before, but it's a nice thing to see.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It really is. To me, it kind of just seems like kind of a form of hygiene. And, we only get one of these things, these bodies,
Yes.
And it's like, if there's something we can do to help, fix some of the damage that we've caused to it, whether it's by exercising and nutrition, or now because of technology, these skin treatments that can, help our skin last longer.
Yeah.
I just see that as being a huge positive for both men and women. So a couple things. All right. So I wanted to touch on, you also, with your business, you have the studio, and do you call it a studio? Is that what it'd be called?
It's a med spa.
A med spa
office.
Okay. So you got
practice.
your med spa, your practice, and you do all these awesome treatments, and you help women feel confident and love their skin and I love the phrase age reversal.
Yes.
It's very hard to slow down age. You can't really stop aging, but to reverse some of the damage that we've done, you're helping so many people do that. And it's awesome. But you also do some training, and you said you recently started some type of a school, or
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So like I said, I started out as a solo esthetician, and it is hard being on your own, trying to figure everything out. And so I just found, I don't know if it's like the big sister in me. I'm the oldest girl of 6 kids. And so when I learn something, I want to help others and teach them. And, so I really saw a need, and in the industry, it feels kind of a little competitive, and I wanted to change that. I feel like community over competition is always the way to go. There's enough wrinkles for all of us to treat, so there's really no competition. And I just found that there were a lot of estheticians or beauty professionals that were really amazing at their craft, but couldn't build the business, and they weren't making the money. And so they were feeling overwhelmed and defeated. And I just was like, why don't I teach them? So I started hands-on and online courses to really help estheticians and, lash artists. It really kind of fits into a lot of different professions, and they're able to get excited and ignite that passion again, so that they can, provide for their family. That's ultimately what they're trying to do, in addition to helping others feel better about themselves. But it's overwhelming and defeating when you feel like you're trying and you're good at what you do, but you don't understand that business side of it. And so I just felt like, why not? Let's just get everyone together. And I wanted a big community. As a solo esthetician, I wanted that community, and it really wasn't, I couldn't really find it. And so I was like, I'm just going to make it. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool. A lot of especially the hands-on classes, they'll fly in from all over the United States. And it's really neat to see they all, by the end of the day, they've all become these best friends, and they stay connected. And it's just really great to be able to have that support. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. It's been really fun.
Well, I like that you said there's kind of an abundance mentality with that, right? It's like we all have competitors. We're all trying to make money and run our businesses. But I think that if you look past a lot of that and just think, okay, well, what are we trying to do? Who are we trying to help? why do I do this? Why does it bring me happiness to do this for somebody and make them happy? And, how can I help, these other estheticians, run successfully their own little businesses? I think there's so much to be said about kind of putting that down and saying, look, I know that we might be fighting over some of the same clients, but there's plenty to go around. Absolutely. There's so many people that need help. And, I think that's just a really great way to approach it. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome. I would love to know, before we wrap things up, just maybe some over-the-counter stuff. So things that if people weren't quite ready to, or, some of these treatments are expensive and it's hard to, I know you have some payment options, which are awesome, but like if people aren't quite there yet where they can afford these treatments, I would love to know, what over-the-counter things should people be doing? Like we talked about a morning and an evening routine. Like what should people be doing every morning that they can just get on Amazon or get from somewhere that's a reputable brand with the right stuff in it? What should they be putting on their face in the morning? What kind of a morning routine should most people have, both men and women? I don't think there's really any difference in what we should be doing. It's just who's actually doing it.
Right.
But what kind of a morning routine should people have? And then what type of a before going to bed routine should most people do to take the very best care of their skin?
Yeah. So I feel like home care is the most important thing. I mean, that's 80% of what's going to get your skin to where it needs to be. So always start with that home care. Antioxidants, so a really good vitamin C is going to help with really so many things. You want to make sure that it is a good one. That was something that I'd probably spend a little bit more money on, because you don't want one that's just going to sit on top of your skin. Mm-hmm. So protect and correct. So antioxidants is going to protect, and correct would be like a retinol. I have my favorites. It's by Skin Better. It's called Alpha Ret. But there's a lot of them out there, and I would just start slowly. With Alpha Ret, it's nice because it's hydrating too, so you don't get a lot of the irritation and redness that usually happens with retinols. But that's going to really help that cell turnover happen, and that's something that you wear at night. And then that SPF, it's really my non-negotiable. It's huge. And reapplying. Every 2 hours, reapply. So that could look like we have like a brush-on SPF that you can put on. So it's just kind of a little quick brush on that you put on throughout the day, because you don't want to put on lotion again usually, mm-hmm. So just finding ways to make it work for your lifestyle is really important.
How important is cleaning your face, like with cleaners, like cleansers? I know there's some people, they do it and it dries their skin out, but I know there's a lot of people that have the night routine of, okay, wash your face and go to bed. Others, probably like myself, just just go to bed. But what about like cleaning your face before putting all this stuff on?
Yes, that is huge. So like we talked about that double cleanse at night. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do the double cleanse in the morning, but definitely do that double cleanse at night. Look for something that doesn't have a high alcohol content, because a lot of the less expensive cleansers are going to have a little bit more alcohol in it, kind of fillers and things like that. But you can get away with, some really less expensive cleansers. But if you do that cool double cleanse, you sweep and then you mop, it's going to help the rest of your routine get to where you want it to go.
Awesome. I like all your analogies.
Thank you.
So just a fun question. How the heck does Tom Cruise look so young at his age?
I mean,
what is he doing?
I wish I knew exactly.
If you had to guess what he's up to.
If I had to guess, definitely microneedling. He probably has done some, I'd like to say jet plasma. It really is like my favorite thing ever. And celebrities have really like jumped onto it, which is really cool. He's probably had some talks and maybe a little bit of fillers. So there's Sculptra, and kind of we talked about those biostimulators. So it's something that's injected under the skin, and it helps that your body with that collagen and elastin. So he's probably had some of that done too, which is one of my favorites. Yeah.
So are those just kind of like Hollywood trendy type things that people are doing?
No, thankfully, they're really attainable. I think they kind of lead the way a little bit sometimes and kind of make it more, I don't know, people start asking for it if they see someone else do it, you know? But it's definitely not just for the celebrities. Anybody can do it.
Very good. Well, I have, so as part of this podcast, we really focus on what we can learn from these conversations and implement. And hopefully, I brought up your kids earlier, but teach our kids so that they can have, a better routine going into, their adulthood and with their kids, and try to protect them from skin cancer and all the different ailments that they're going to get thrown with. Yeah. I just love to ask all my guests, what does it mean to build generational health? What does generational health mean to you?
Oh my goodness, that's huge. I feel like in my experience, I'm kind of like a generational fixer. I've really kind of changed a lot of patterns in my family. And so being able to create that generational health, just like you said, teaching our kids how to cleanse and how to wear SPF. I mean, back when I was a kid, we did not wear SPF. I mean, I was on the trampoline with baby oil, like that was just not something that we did or we were taught. So I think generational health and changing lives for the better, I mean, that's only just gonna, I think about my grandkids one day, and making sure that they don't have to worry about skin cancer and things like that just because they started wearing sunscreen when they were toddlers, So I think that's really cool.
Oh, very good. Well, I appreciate that. And thank you for coming in. I do want to make sure we let people know where to find you. So where would be the best places to look you up? Website, Instagram, and for those that might be interested in being educated by you through your education program, where can people find you?
Yeah, thank you. So you can find me on McAuleyCo.com. Our Instagram is McAuley Co Aesthetics, and my academy is McAuley Co Academy. Okay. But really, the website, there's links to everything on there. We've got new client specials. There's just fun things for anyone really wanting to, come in for a free consult. Just really kind of talk about where you're wanting to go with your skin.
That's awesome. Well, we'll have to talk. I'm interested in maybe we can figure out a way to do some sort of collaborative giveaway or something and try to hook somebody up.
I would love
that's wanting to try specifically, I think, jet plasma or something. We've got a lot of our clients and patients are probably in a similar boat where, they'd love to try something that's a bit more natural and something that might help protect their skin and help them age a little bit more gracefully. So
I love it.
Appreciate you coming in and teaching us about all this stuff. We'll make sure to add links to your website and everything to the podcast. But I do appreciate your time. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. All right. We might have to do it again.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Thank you.